Hello and welcome back to the Making the Radio Cut blog. I'm Michelle, and a little programming note before we get to this week's interview. In the broadcasting world, even the best of us sometimes have blonde moments, and I had one this week while recording this week's interview and didn't realize till about halfway through that our guest mic was not turned on. So we were able to break up the volume. He's a little off mic, but you can still hear what he has to say. So without further ado, our guest for this week is the program director of 93.3 WNCD The Wolf in Youngstown, Ohio, and also 95.9 KISS FM WAKZ, Matt Spatz. All right, so what led you to a career in radio?
I think the reason I got into radio, like everybody likes music, and I think that's always a natural attraction. But it was never just, ooh, I want to be the guy that pushes a button and plays a song. I think it was always that entertainer aspect, and anybody who says there's not ego involved with this is pretty much lying. My whole life growing up playing sports and not being afraid to watch people and think that I was cool or good at something. So yeah, all right. Okay, I sound like an egotistical jerk. The ability to perform, and the bottom line is to do something that I thought would be a lot of fun. I didn't want to be somebody who went to work and hated his job every day.
And since we've had quite a few conversations about college and radio, tell me how you picked a college and why you chose to do that instead of doing like a broadcast school.
Well, I didn't go to college to be on the radio, to be honest with you. I picked a school where it needed to be the total package. It needed a lot of stuff. I wanted to go a little bit away from home, but not too terribly far. I didn't want to go all the way across the country. I did play baseball in high school and then actually in college as well, so I wanted to go somewhere where I had the opportunity to play ball. But I actually started out as a print journalism major. But in the back of my mind, from the day I got there, I knew I wanted to get involved with the college radio station. And at the time, it was going to be something fun, just to screw around. Again, like I said, kind of show off and have some fun with it. I just really found that I liked speaking more than I liked writing at that point in my life, so I decided to go ahead and go for it. As it turns out, I got very lucky in the school that I chose. I went to a small liberal arts college, Otterbein College, so I was able to get involved with the college radio station, even without being a major. Had I gone to even an Ohio University or one of these other places, maybe with a renowned broadcasting program, you have to be a major, and sometimes you don't get on the air until you're a junior or a senior. And I was right away, my freshman year. There I was thrown into the fire. So
and that's exactly why I chose Westminster. That was the same thing, was I wanted to be on the air freshman year.
I knew a small school, whether it was radio, whether it was writing for the school paper, playing ball, all those different things. I knew those opportunities would be there immediately. So it was the best decision I ever made.
So tell me about your college station and your experience there.
The college station was very much run like a quote-unquote real radio station. And at the time, maybe I didn't realize it so much. At the time, maybe I didn't really like it. But we actually had program logs. We had songs in categories. You needed to fill out the log accordingly. Artist separation. I know a lot of college radio stations, you just kind of show up and do whatever you want. There's not a whole lot of control over it. And again, if you're just there to screw around, I guess that's one thing. But for people who want to do this as a career, it was just so immensely helpful. That I learned. I knew no other way. It's not like I had the ability to just go in and screw around on my college station, and then it was like shell shock when I got a real job. It's how I had always done it. So it was the best experience in the world for me. I just started out being on the air. Then I eventually became music director, and then by my senior year, I was the program director. But I had all these concepts, and again, quite frankly, I would never have made it. This wouldn't be my career today if that would not have been structured like a real radio station. I honestly believe that.
And even though it was structured like a real radio station, did you notice any big differences between the college radio station and the real world station, and what were they?
Well, I think the difference on it is, while yes, it is structured, and yes, we had a regular format, we still did have showcases. So even though it was a rock station, 90% of the time, late at night or on the weekend, we did do specialty shows where the music was totally off the wall and totally different, which again, I think was a great thing, because for people who did want to get into radio, but they didn't want to be in rock radio, there's so many differences between, in the real world, between a rock station and a top 40 station or a classical music station. This gave people the opportunity to learn different styles of radio. And that's really, that really is the big difference, is that We tried to follow the rules, but at the same time, not everybody was going to travel down the same path. So we were much more liberal. We would maybe do news or sports updates at quote-unquote odd times during the day where a commercial station wouldn't, but we wanted to give more opportunities, again, for maybe somebody who wanted to go into news radio. So, I mean, we tried to, most of the time we played by the rules, we played by the structure, but still there was enough opportunity to learn the different types of formats and whatnot that you would never get in a professional radio station. That's the one main difference. And then the other real major difference is it was non-commercial. You didn't have to deal with clients. You didn't have to, that obviously that is the lifeline of what keeps a commercial radio station on the air. That's what pays the bills. That's how we all get paid. We need that. So, you're not catering to, you're doing promotions differently because there's not a client tied into it. And that's a huge difference.
Do you think college is a wise choice for someone that wants to get into radio?
Yes. I'm not even going to let you finish that question. Just because maybe, what if radio wouldn't have worked out for me? Still, at least I have that college education now. And I think that, first of all, I still obviously had other classes besides just broadcasting. If you just go to a broadcast school, all you do is you're taking broadcasting, and that's all you're qualified to do. At least here, I have enough of a background in public relations. I have enough of a background in journalism. I took business and economics classes. I'm just a much more well-rounded person, which I think really helps in radio, because when you go on the air and you're doing a break, you know what you're talking about. You know current events. When we're in a bad economy, you kind of understand, so you can really relate to people listening. And one of the best compliments I think I ever got was, it was my first full-time job. And the guy who did mornings on the radio station, I was just the lowly old overnight guy when I first started, back when we actually had live people in here doing overnights. And I hadn't worked there but a couple of months, and he paid me the greatest compliment when he asked me a question about something totally out of left field, and I kind of went, how would I know the answer to that? He said, well, the reason I asked you was, you know a little bit about a lot of things. And to me, that was just I didn't take that as a slam at all. He was just saying I was well-rounded and was able to very easily communicate with other people. I think that the other good reason, for going to college rather than like a broadcast school, I had 4 years of it. This is the kind of thing, like most things, whether you're learning to play an instrument, playing a sport, whatever, the only way you get better is to practice. And if you're going to a broadcast school that's 9 or 10 months or whatever it is, you're not going to get good in that amount of time. I had 4 years to develop and get better. And if I were to go back, and I don't know if I have any of this stuff, listen to what I sounded like when I was a freshman versus what I sounded like when I was a senior, I'm sure there's a world of difference.
And after you decided to do radio, did you have a plan B after that, just in case?
Plan B was the fact that I have a degree, right? No, not so much. I did at one point start going back to school. I did start grad school and was going to get my master's degree in education. The reason I didn't, I just, busy, with my job. It is hard to go back, and maybe that's just an excuse. But I think the real reason I didn't follow through and finish it was I realized my heart was in radio. I thought I had reached a time where, okay, I had my fun. Maybe it's time to go do something for real. But then you listen to friends, family, acquaintances, all the people around you that they do nothing but complain about work. I hate my job. I hate going there. I don't want to go back there. Yada, yada. But I have to. I have to pay the bills. Still, at the end of the day, as much as commercial radio has changed, it's a lot better than anything else I think I could be doing. So again, maybe that's short-sighted. Maybe at some point that'll come back to bite me. But I keep figuring I'm not going to choose to leave. I'm not going to go find what's next. Whatever's next is going to find me, and I'll know it.